In Hindi, there is a phrase that is used, ek phuti kaudi nahi dunga. Now, phuti kaudi, I was always wondering this is just a casual phrase of poverty, but then I was told that 4 phuti kaudi, 4 broken kauris is equal to 1 kauri shell. So it was currency. Now notice in the Kushan coins, you see the Buddha image for the first time. So you see the Buddha image, you see the king's image. So the king's image and Buddha's image, first time images of Buddha start to appear, and they're appearing on coins, and it indicates how trust is being generated by the Kushan kings. 3 phases of Islamic coins. So the first phase is when you start seeing the names of the kings in Arabic script or Persian script, but there is also images. Now this is against Islam to use the image. It's haram to use the image of people, but people didn't trust coins without these images. They needed an image like the Nandi bull in this case. So in the early Islamic period, we do find a lot of coins with Arabic or Persian script, but along with the images of Hindu gods or kings also, which is against Islamic rule, but they had to be practical in these matters. Markets would not accept coins without something that they trusted.
Taking us through architecture and sculptures in previous episode, Devdutt Pattanaik has introduced to us in an extremely lucid and interesting way the topic of visual art. And today, he's going to talk to us about something which is, again, very important marker and example of visual art. We are going to talk about something which is also important for economic history, trade, transaction, commerce. I'm talking about coins. So hello everyone, I am Manas Srivastava and you are watching Season 2 of Art and Culture with Devdutt Pattanaik. Devdutt, welcome to the show. Now, before we go deep into the topic, let's start with a very simple question, yet very important question to begin with, is that what and why are coins important and how do they start to appear in history?
So why are coins important? And I think we should spend some time understanding what are coins actually. Now, humans have been trading for as long as there has been human civilization. As I said, the difference between civilization and culture is this. Culture produces its own food or procures its own food, but civilization exchanges goods and ideas. And to facilitate exchange, coinage came into being. But long before coinage, people traded using barter. And one of the theses was that coins enabled people to barter more efficiently. That was a thesis. But now more and more people and economic historians are saying that the original financial concept in human civilization is the idea of debt, which is called rin. And this word rin is even found in the Rig Veda. This idea of I owe you something. So the idea of debt played a very, very important role. And people would trade and remember the debts that their neighbors owed them, or people who came to them regularly in various seasons, and they maintained a record of debts. And the first writing was done by accountants. So debt is a very important concept, more than barter. And over time, the idea of coins emerged. You see, if I know that you're going to come back every season or regularly, or I know who you are, I don't really need to maintain, to give you coins. I don't need coins. For example, you will have in the local tapri an account, right? We all have this bahi khata. You go to the local kirana wala where he maintains a record of how much you owe them at the end of the month. You settle it. And this practice was there across India for thousands of years. It may have started as long as the Harappan civilization, where we don't find evidence of coinage. But in the Harappan times, you start finding the use of cowrie shells. So slowly, when people didn't trust people so much and they said, let's settle our accounts right now, then that is when coinage starts to appear. And coinage starts to appear mostly with mobile communities. And there are 2 mobile communities we should remember. Merchants, they kept moving. The second mobile community are the nomadic people. They also loved coinage because you settle the accounts, you carry the money with you, you go to another place and you exchange it for whatever goods and services that you want. The third probable suggestion of a mobile community is armies. As empires grew and armies came into being, armies were paid with coins, and that is how coins spread as an idea. This is one of the theses that has come. So merchants, nomads, armies, and you will see in the history of India, it is when we encountered merchants, when we encounter nomads, when we encounter armies, that coinage starts to becoming more and more important. Now, the earliest coins that we know that were used in India until about 17th, 18th century were the cowrie shells. In Hindi, there is a phrase that is used, ek phuti kaudi nahi dunga. Now, phuti kaudi, I was always wondering, this is just a casual phrase of poverty, but then I was told that 4 phuti kaudi, 4 broken cowries is equal to 1 cowrie shell. So it was currency, cowrie, and you will see lots of women in temples wear cowrie necklaces because these were at one time currencies. And even today we wear gold coins around the neck. So cowrie things around the neck or gold coins around the neck is all because women used to use coins as jewelry to be used in times of crisis and calamity. So coinage, the theory of coinage is important.
Thank you, Devdutt, for that answer. I'm sure students are going to find it as an interesting introduction when they're writing it as a part of their answer to the questions related to coins. But Devdutt, generally when we imagine coins or think about coins, we are talking about metals, we are thinking about metals. So can you briefly tell us how metallic coins came into play, and with time, with history, how changes what changes do we see in coins?
Now, when did the first metal coinage start? That comes to the question. Before I move, it's important to remember that cowrie shells are found in the island of Maldives. And Maldives is where all the cowrie shells came, and they were used across Africa. It was also used during slave trade by the Portuguese. So it is, cowrie shells have been forgotten as a currency, and we should remember that. In South America, people use coca beans instead of cowrie shells. So you find these different kinds of currency-like things. When we use the word coins, we're really talking about metal currency. And that begins in India in the Mauryan period, or even before the Mauryan period, about 2,500 years ago, exactly when the Buddha is preaching about his monastic order that desires the cause of suffering. The eastern part of India, the greater Magadha region, which is Bihar, Jharkhand region, is experiencing a boom of mercantilism. Trade is happening, and that is when you find silver coins, copper coins, lead coins, punch-marked coins called kasha pada, from where the word kosha comes, which is treasure, from where the word English word cash comes. So kasha pada, kosha, and cash all come from the same root, and this comes 2,500 years ago. Coinage is found simultaneously in India, in Greece, in China. So when the great Axis age of philosophy is happening, Socrates in Greece, Confucius in China, Buddha in India, at the same time, coinage is being introduced by the mercantile communities that allows people mobility in trade. So kasha pada, and you can see these are the kasha padas from 2,500 years ago, and they are punch marked coins, some with lead, some with silver, some with copper, and you can see images of sun, moon. These are the janapadas. These were not issued by royal mints, but perhaps by merchant guilds who knew each other, and was primarily used for trade networks. They were not used probably by common people, but mostly used by caravans, and we hear these stories of caravans and coins in the Jataka tales, the Buddhist Jataka tales. Then we move forward and we come to the Indo-Greek period. This Indo-Greek period is around 200 BC, 100 BC. This is the time of the Indo-Greek Scythians. Now remember, we're coming to the northwest part of India. It is in the northwest part of India, we find near Afghanistan, they have found these coins, silver coins, that have the images of Krishna and Balaram, and that is why these Indo-Greek coins are important, primarily because we find the earliest images of Hindu gods, Krishna and Balaram, Vasudeva and Shankarshana, that is being used. And that becomes important. So you have these images minted by royal figures. In one side of the coin, it will be the king's face and the king's image. His name is there written in the Greek script or the Kharoshthi script, and then you have an image of a local deity so that people trust, because it's a local deity. So the images of deities were used to create trust. Remember, coinage is all about trust. You trust the rupee note. Remember demonetization. If the state says that this piece coin or this paper is of no value, it immediately loses value. So you have to trust the issuing authority. How do you trust it? You have the face of the king or the name of the king, and you have a face of a local god or deity. Like in this case, you have the Indo-Greeks when they came, who were ruling this region near the Hindu Kush region, east and west of the Hindu Kush. So Gandhara on the eastern side. This is where you find these coins by the Indo-Greek kings. After that, you have the Kushana period, when gold coins start to first appear in India. Very important thing to remember, 100 AD, Kushans. Now, where did the Kushans come from? They were also nomadic people who come from China, Central Asia, into India, and the Kushans controlled the trade routes on either side of the Hindu Kush. So they were from Afghanistan, Iran, and then across the Hindu Kush to Gandhara. So that is the point to remember. The other person who did this was Mahmud of Ghazni and Ghoris. They controlled the trade routes on either side of the Hindu Kush. So this is important, the one to be remembered. Now notice in the Kushan coins, you see the Buddha image for the first time. So you see the Buddha image, you see the king's image. So the king's image and Buddha's image, first time images of Buddha start to appear, and they're appearing on coins, and it indicates how trust is being generated by the Kushana kings.
So all the art and culture lovers, all the students, all the aspirants, please make note of all these significant elements or aspects of coins from different parts of history or different dynasties, because these are something which you should know. Potentially these form relevant questions in your examination. Now, Devdutt, if I may ask that, when we go to the late Guptas or, the post-Gupta period, we see significant economic changes in history. Now, how are these economic changes linked to coins? What are the aspects which we should know about it?
Gupta period, 300 AD, what is considered the Great Gupta period, Pataliputra, is when the gold coins, and gold coins are very, very important to date. We have reference to gold coins in Arthashastra, in Manusmriti. So they were composed after 100 AD, after the Kushans introduced gold coins, and the gold coin idea was taken up by the Guptas. And you see the Gupta gold coins has images of the king, the queen, and new gods. So suddenly you have Lakshmi with a lion. You have Skanda, that is the warrior son of Shiva. You have the king himself holding a bow. These are the images which are found in the Gupta period. But people often ask the questions, because after the Gupta period, you suddenly find an apparent decline in gold coins. Now, it's important to use the word apparent, because gold coins are being used, but the kings are not issuing gold coins or putting their names and faces on it. Trade is happening, coins are being issued, but somehow the kings don't feel the need to express themselves using gold coins the way Pataliputra did. And one of the reasons is that after the Gupta period, long distance trade is replaced by short distance trade. Many regional kingdoms emerge, many regional markets emerge. Before the Gupta period, there were long distance trade to Hindu Kush, to the port cities from where the material would travel all the way to Iran, Persia, to Egypt, to Afghanistan, to Rome even, and from where gold would come in the form of these coins. And therefore you have Roman coins found in the coasts of India, and these were long distance. And remember, trust over long distance is difficult, and therefore these Indo-Greek coins, drachma, and the Gupta coins, dinar, became very popular. But once this went away and there were shorter trades, that people were traveling from small cities, markets opened in Karnataka, in Maharashtra, in Odisha, in Andhra Pradesh, these many markets opened, short distances, the need for such gold coins seems to have gone down. And around 700, 800 AD, we can actually see, some scholars have observed, that coinage is mostly found in the northern and western part of India, where the Pratiharas ruled, and in the southern part of India, where the Rashtrakutas ruled, you don't find much coinage built. The Rashtrakutas didn't feel the need to have coins. Pala kings in Bengal side used balance sheets and balance books and did not need coins to settle accounts with their trading partners. They would maintain accounts, and they would maintain an account of debts, and gold ingots would be given, gold ingots, but no need of coins and royal coins. So that's a very interesting thing which happens after the Gupta period. There's no decline in trade, it's a change in trading patterns. More and more agricultural regional economies are emerging. So remember, these things are to be remembered, because how coins reveal something about our culture. Now, in the 8th century, so around the Pratihara period, when the Pratiharas are fighting the Rashtrakutas, are fighting the Palas, you find in the northern part of India Indo-Sasanian coins which don't see the images of kings, you don't see the images of gods. There is some suggestion of a fire altar of the Persian Zoroastrian kings. Islam has not yet come. Persia is still controlled by Zoroastrian kings who worship fire altars. And you find that image in these coins of the Pratiharas. Pratiharas ruled in what is today Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan region, again northwest part of India. Coins then are there in the Chola period. You find some Chola coins, and you have the classic symbols from the southern part of India, tiger, two fish, coins being appearing in the Chola, because they were trading across the sea with the Shailendras in Indonesia, they were trading with Java, they were traveling with Vietnam. So you do find some coins in the Chola periods, but then the coins in the south start appearing during the Vijayanagar period. And in the Vijayanagar period, that is the 13th and 14th century, you start seeing coins once again with images of Hindu gods. And this, from the 14th century to the 18th, 19th century, these were popular. They were called the Varaha coins or the pagoda coins. So when the Europeans came to India, they started seeing that these coins are very valued by people. It doesn't matter who is the king, whether they're Hindu kings or Muslim kings, Varaha coins are very, very important. So these pagoda coins, Varaha coins, created a trust in the southern part of India. They were known as Varahas and pagodas. It's important to remember the names of coins. Remember, there's Kashapana in the Mauryan period, there is Drachma, which is coming from the northwest, there is Dinar of the Gupta period, and then you have the Varaha pagoda of the Vijayanagar period. So different names are being given.
Thank you, Devdutt. That's a very important period to understand the economic history vis-a-vis coins, and therefore now we are stepping into medieval period. And in the medieval period, especially the Islamic era, what are the important elements which students should keep in mind while studying coins?
Coins become important in the Islamic period, because one of the indicators that you are a sultan in the Islamic world is that you mint coins with your name. In Islam, the problem is you can use your name, but you can't use images. Now, this is what makes Islamic coins interesting, and I'll show you 3 phases of Islamic coins. So, the first phase is when you start seeing the names of the kings in Arabic script or Persian script, but there is also images. Now, this is against Islam to use the images, haram to use the image of people, but people didn't trust coins without these images. They needed an image like the Nandi bull in this case. So in the early Islamic period, we do find a lot of coins with Arabic or Persian script, but along with the images of Hindu gods or kings also, which is against Islamic rule, but they had to be practical in these matters. Markets would not accept coins without something that they trusted. Then comes the coins of the Khilji period, the Tanka. So new name has come now. The Tanka, the Rupiah from Raupia. Raupia is silver. Silver was the most precious metal. India had always had a shortage of silver. Remember, silver was not easily available in India, and silver was much valued. Although we loved gold, but silver was much valued because it was the denomination for making coins, and the Tanka of Alauddin Khilji. Now notice here, you see script, you don't see any imagery, and this is a classical Islamic coin. The Sultan is establishing his authority, his name is there, there would be a date, there would be name of the mint, all those things would be there in this coin. during the Mughal period was very interesting because Akbar, Jahangir had sort of made relations with the Rajputs and were not as Islamic as the Islamic world would like them to be. And this is the time when you start seeing certain bold experimentation by the kings. The Jahangiri coin was issued by Jahangir with his own image on it, which was like complete haram. And these are rare coins because immediately after Jahangir's rule, all these coins were melted by his successor Shah Jahan because the ulema did not approve of it. You also find during Jahangir's time images of zodiac symbols because he was deeply into astrology. So zodiac signs were used, and this was all against Islam. And that's an interesting thing about Islamic coins of India that you should remember. When the Marathas came to power, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj comes to power in the 17th century. He's fighting Aurangzeb, but he's at that time everybody says that if you're a king, you have to mint coins with your name. And when Chhatrapati Shivaji coronates himself as a Hindu king again, he uses this belief of people that if you're a king, your name should appear on a coin, and therefore you have the Chhatrapati's name on gold coins minted by the Maratha king. And that's how coinage starts telling us about how cultures change. This was, you see how the shift has happened from the mercantile coins of Kashapana to the coins of the Indo-Greeks, the drachmas, to the coins of the Guptas, the dinars, the tanka of Alauddin Khilji, to the coins made by the Maratha kings with his name on it. Finally, not all coins are used for economic reasons. Sometimes they are become tokens like the Ramatanka or pilgrimage tokens that we find in the 18th and 19th century across India. People would travel. Nowadays we have posters which we can easily print posters with. Those days there were no print posters. They would collect these silver coins or copper coins or lead coins with images of the local gods. So you find this in Puri, you would have Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra images. Many places you'll have the Ramatanka. It's something to be remembered. So that's all about coins, and it is good to remember. Remember, when you're answering these questions, ask yourself, what is the purpose of a coin? Why does it exist? What is the material used? What is the purpose that the king uses coins to establish his sovereignty and his authority? And also know the geography and history of coins.
Thank you, Devdutt. Thank you for ending that answer on a very important note by telling those important factors which a student should keep in mind while understanding or studying coins. And I'm sure all of you must have realized that coins are very important markers and elements to understand the cultural change through time and space. That's all from me today. That's all from us today in the season 2 of Devdutt Pattanaik's Art and Culture show. In the next episode, we're going to talk about a new topic. Till then, think smart, work hard, conquer your goal. Bye-bye.